we just sat down and said, what can we do new? What can we bring? Let's add some more games. Let's bring in, better food. Let's bring in more food. This year we just exploded. We went big. We have, I think, 17 different food and beverage vendors that are just spread out all throughout the festival to really kind of alleviate the line. So I think everybody's going to be really impressed with the food options this year. Let's curate a better shopping experience for our market. We just keep adding these new things. And so one of the things that we came up with was we've got 6 weekends. Let's brand each weekend completely unique and bring something different for everybody to experience. So again, a lot of things, the ride sharing, the constables out front, parking management. There's a lot going in our favor. And of course, that's why I say moving their games. I think that parking is going to be a much easier situation this year.
Welcome to the Sold on Drip podcast, your ultimate destination for all things Dripping Springs. I am your host, Bill Cafferetta, and we are here to celebrate what makes this town the best place to live in the Texas Hill Country. It's amazing people. Join us as we sit down with local residents and business owners to hear their stories, learn why they love this community, and are proud to call it home. We will be spotlighting their businesses, find out why they choose to serve the people of Dripping Springs, and dive into the local events that bring our community together. Our finger is always on the pulse, and we will be keeping you informed about how our rapid growth and development is impacting our schools, resources, and the local real estate market. Whether you're a lifelong resident or you have just discovered Dripping Springs, you will soon know why we are all sold on drip. Thanks for joining and enjoy this episode. Hi, I'm Bill Cafferetta, your host of the Sold on Drip podcast, and I'm really excited this week for our guest, Christopher Durst, who is the co-founder and producer of the Dripping Springs Pumpkin Festival here in town. It's going to be kicking off opening weekend coming up, and we're really excited for the event. And I'd love for Christopher to come in here and just give us some information and tell us about the event. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm excited. You've been a tough guy to nail down this month.
It's been busy. It's been really busy out there getting ready for the festival.
It's a big one. I don't think everybody realizes how much goes into it and what it's really for. And that's why I wanted to highlight this and really kind of shine some light on what's going on down there and what you guys are doing for the Pound House and here in Dripping Springs.
Thanks. We really appreciate that.
One of the things you can do just to get this out front so we don't forget is you can find the Pumpkin Festival on social media. You can take a look on Instagram, and that is at Dripping Springs Pumpkin Festival. So give them a follow, check them out there, and kind of follow along with what's going on. And so Chris, what's special about Dripping Springs for you, man? Let's hear the Christopher story of what brought you here and what you love about this place and why you chose Dripping Springs.
Well, first of all, Dripping is just an amazing city. We love the community. We had a family ranch that we kind of grew up in years and years ago off of Fitzhugh. And so since a child, we've been frequenting there. And I just always loved how just small and quaint the town was. Of course, it's really grown. And a couple of years back, we've been doing music festivals across the U.S. and really just wanted to strip down and do something really more community oriented. And we had done something out in Leander and we loved it out there, but we wanted to bring something closer to home. And so we were looking for a new property, and we kind of stumbled across the Pound House and thought it was a beautiful property and reached out to them and explained to them who we were and that we'd like to chat with them. And then we kind of found out the Pound House was in a really bad spot. They'd been shuttered for a couple of years and were in danger of losing the property, and the museum had been closed. And so it was just kind of right time and right place. And we said, yeah, we really want to bring this to Dripping. And if we can do this here on your property, we can help you guys raise a lot of money and help get all the repairs done and the renovation done and get the museum back open. And that's kind of how it all started in our love affair with Dripping Springs.
So you said some music festivals and who you guys were. Can you elaborate on that? What kind of music festivals are you talking about and who's putting these on?
Sure. So I've been in the music industry for about 30 years. I should say I retired 2 Januaries ago. A very long career. I'm definitely 5th-generation Texan, but moved out to California for many years. Produced events San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, quite a few events up north, but also Houston, Dallas, and Austin. And I went to school here and obviously fell in love with Austin many, many years ago, and always wanted to come back home to Texas. And so I moved home about 15 years ago, and launched a record label in town and was managing, which for us, that was kind of starting to wind down a little bit. And even that, just with all the travel and the touring, my girls were getting older. I have three daughters, and my wife was a little tired of the traveling as well. And so I just figured it was a good time to kind of settle down and stay at home a little bit more. But it was a great run. It was a great career. I did a lot of things in music. It's a lot of fun. But music events are just a whole different monster. It's not as there's a community in music, but it's not as community oriented as doing something like in Dripping Springs for the immediate community. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but I'm glad to be doing what we're doing now.
I'm sure there's some great stories behind that.
Oh yes, yeah. 30 years of music, traveling around the world. It was a good time, but like anything, it eventually becomes a job, and
Yeah.
you get burned out and ready to move on. After 30 years, I definitely did my time.
Well, we're thrilled that you're here and you're calling, you're back in Texas and calling Dripping Springs home and doing some great things for the community. And I know I kind of alluded to this, but we've been trying to get this scheduled now for a few days, about a week or so. And every time, I mean, you were just busy, or you were having to put out a fire, or build something out, or you're
Oh yeah.
ready. And this work, I mean, this opening weekend is this weekend, but it doesn't just show up. I mean, you guys, how long have you been at this now for the setup and getting everything ready for the festival?
Well, it takes about 6 months to plan it, to truly plan it at the level that we do. And we don't want to be a burden or impose on the Pound House. Beautiful grounds, so we really try to limit our setup. So everything that you saw last year, there's even more going on this year, and we typically set it all up in 2 weeks. So it's every day, 12 to 14 hours a day. Of course, this time of year is very, very hot. Always, it always is. And then it cools down as we get into the festival. So our whole crew is working out in 100-degree temperatures, really trying to build something special and memorable for the families, not just here in Dripping, but Central Texas as well.
And we haven't seen rain in months. And during setup, it was just downpour after downpour.
Yes, we've had it. We've had a lot of rain.
We needed it,
but we have a great crew, and everybody understands, what this is for, and they also have a lot of heart for the Pound House and the community. So we just work through the rain. We take it as a blessing. It cools everything off. We've got clouds over us. The sun's not beating down. Yes, things get messy. They get a little muddy. Everything gets drenched, but we're out there just kind of dancing in the rain, so to speak, and having fun with it, and knowing that the community is going to have a blast in a few days. So that's what keeps us going.
So what year is this now for the festival?
This is the third year for the Dripping Springs Pumpkin Festival.
Okay. And so the first year when you came in, the Pound House was not doing well. You guys were able to really help that out. So how long did that take? Was that a year one transition where it was back, or it's really taken this 3 years to get it where it needs to be?
No, in fact, we've been fundraising for the last 3 years, but two festivals coming into the third. And we raised quite a bit of money, and with some other donors that they have, we were able to put our resources together, take care of all the renovations, and we're happy to say that the museum is officially open again after, I think it's been 4 or 5 years since it's been shuttered. It's been quite a while, and we're really looking forward to inviting the community back for one last and final year at the Pound House, and celebrating the reopening of the museum and the restoration of the property. It's absolutely beautiful right now.
And I know if you're from here, you know what the Pound House is, but not everybody's been here long enough because it hasn't been open, or isn't necessarily here, or is just kind of learning about Dripping Springs and hasn't moved here yet. So what is the historical significance of that building?
Well, a lot of people don't realize it, but that property, Founders Park, that is the founding property of Dripping Springs. It was the first settlement in 1854. And, the Pounds really are the result of Dripping Springs being the city that it is. And It's just a beautiful, majestic property. The live oak trees that are there. When you start learning about the history, you realize that it really was a special property. It was the first school, the first medical center, first church establishment. A lot of people traveled for miles and miles to be treated by Dr. Pound, and he really created a community gathering point where everybody could travel in and spend time with each other and catch up on news and things like that. And he was even revered by the Indians as a medicine man. I mean, it's just the history there it's really incredible and so worthy of being preserved.
Well, we're thrilled that you all were able to help out with that and kind of keep that going this year and the final year. And we're going to talk a bit about the festival, but just so we're just clear, it's not ending this year. It's just going to be moving to an undisclosed location.
That's right. I mean, a lot of the neighborhoods have kind of grown around the Pound House. We certainly understand that the parking has become even more limited, and so we realize, as well as the neighbors do, that it's time to move the festival into a bigger location where we have more parking and not surrounded by neighborhoods. We love the neighbors. A lot of them have been incredibly supportive of the festival. Others, maybe not from Dripping Springs, don't quite understand what we're doing there in the middle of a neighborhood. They don't realize that the property that they actually live on was donated by the Pound House to the city of Dripping Springs, and the city decided to develop that property. So we're also trying to get that word out and educate our very close neighbors, and that the property they live on was part of the history of Dripping Springs, and they really should come and learn more about the Pound House and celebrate the history of the Pound House with us.
And that's where kind of looking back and having this history lesson is important, because not everybody is from here, not everybody does know that, and having it open and the ability to go visit and listen to historians like yourself that understand this and can fully articulate that is really important, and especially for a small town like Dripping Springs to fully understand the history behind it.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. It's not just like this old building, right? I mean, the original log cabin from 1854 is still standing. Of course, the family lived on the property from 1854 to 1983. And so it is one of the most preserved historical landmarks in the state of Texas, to the fact that Dr. Pound and his wife, Sarah, their belongings are still there. I mean, you can go in and you can see his medical equipment, and their clothing is still available to be looked at. Their original beds in there. Like, it's amazing how well preserved the property is. All the tools, the blacksmith tools. I mean, I could go on and on and on. There's so much history that has been preserved in this property. It's really incredible.
The time capsule.
It's an absolute time capsule.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the festival itself. So what can we expect at the Pumpkin Festival? What do you guys have in store? What does that look like? And who's going to be coming out to
Sure.
Yeah.
We like to change it up every year. I'm never quite satisfied. I'm always trying to one up what we did the year before, add new attractions, games. And so this year's no different than any other thing I've done in the past, with my wife, Gretchen, who's my partner in the festival. She's a co-founder, and my music industry business partner, Will, is also part of it. So there's three of us involved. We just sat down and said, what can we do new? What can we bring? Let's add some more games. Let's bring in, better food. Let's bring in more food. Let's make sure that there's food in every section this year, so everybody's not concentrated into one area. Let's curate a better shopping experience for our market. What do kids want? What do moms want? What do dads want? Adding beer and wine last year, but not really promoting it because it's not an Oktoberfest. It's very family oriented. So, we just keep adding these new things. And so one of the things that we came up with was, there's only so many new things you can add. So we said, well, let's break up the weekends. We've got 6 weekends. Let's brand each weekend completely unique and bring something different for everybody to experience. So the first weekend this year happens to be our first ever Scarecrow Disco, which is still very pioneer, but it's got a little bit of a, modern edge to it. We have a lot of, influencers and media. They're coming out. Everybody likes to take photos, spread the word about the festival. Our second weekend is our Butterfly Jubilee. We do butterfly releases, live releases at 1 and 4 o'clock every Saturday and Sunday, or on those Saturdays and Sundays, I should say, and butterfly merchandise and educational experience. And then, our third weekend is our celebration of Indigenous tradition. Saturday, we have an Aztec group coming out and performing, ancient rituals from, ancient days. And then on Sunday, we have American Indians coming out, the Comanches, who we absolutely love and adore. It's such an authentic experience. Fry bread will be there. Our fourth weekend is our Pioneer Palooza. We've got Striker the Pony coming out, who does all these little tricks on command, and those beautiful white stallions coming out. It's the Trick Riders, the Texas Trick Riders, and they do a lot of movie production. So there's going to be kind of some reenactments and different things going on. They're a lot of fun. Weekend 5, and I can't get into all the details. There's so much, right? Weekend 5 is our bubble extravaganza. There's going to be all kinds of interactive, bubble areas for kids to try to create these big, huge bubbles, and some bubble shows. And then weekend 6, which is a little bit of a somber experience for us. It's our last and final weekend at the Pound House. That is going to be a really cool weekend. We've teamed up with Go Couture, who just did their event at Ranch Park. Huge success. So we're going to have a baby goat fashion show the last weekend.
That'll be fun.
Just with all kinds of fun things. We have a lot of special things coming up for that weekend that we're not going to release, because it's pretty much like if you come and celebrate that last weekend with us, then you get to experience. And if you don't, it was really a special occasion and moment for everybody who actually attended. So again, I mean, there's just so much going on. We just continue to keep adding things even as we're getting into the festival.
Well, it shows that you've put 6 months into this, because it's pretty detailed, and you're just giving us that high 10,000 foot level right there.
Yes. Yeah, there's so much more.
So now let's look at those dates. So opening weekend is the 23rd. What days are you there? What is it? Is this every day? Is this just weekends, times? What's the breakdown on that?
So we used to be every day except for Tuesdays, and talking with some of the neighbors this year going into the festival, working closely with the city to ensure that we were able to do one last final celebration. We realized that it might be a bit much for the neighborhood now, so we decided to kind of work with everybody and and just try to make it fun for everybody, have one great last blowout. And so we're only going to be weekends. So it'll be 6 weekends starting September 23rd, this Saturday, and we'll go every Saturday and Sunday until October 29th. So
what are those hours?
10 a.m. to 7 p.m. every Saturday and Sunday for 6 weeks.
So those are going to be some packed weekends, man. I'm excited. You got a lot going on. That Scarecrow Disco, I know we'll be out there this weekend, so kind of excited to see what that's all about.
That's going to be fun. So my wife really heads all the production for us. And that's kind of one of the things I think that the festival people recognize, that there's a lot of heart with the festival. There's not just plastic blow-ups and things like that. We create everything. We make everything. We literally spend, days, weeks, months, like creating all of the production to come out and share with the community. So it's a very curated, very boutique community festival.
What you said you got a lot more food options this year. Any local restaurants or anybody you're highlighting there?
It's interesting because we really try to involve the community to get some of the local restaurants to come out, but I think the time commitment's a little much for people because we appreciate consistency. We want continuity at the festival.
Right.
So we do require that all of our food vendors commit to the entire festival. They're there every day of the festival, so everyone knows what to expect, and so that we can really ensure quality. But this year we've got 2 different variations of tacos. We've got fresh paninis, gelato. We've got funnel cakes. We actually have a dedicated food truck in Kids Village it's literally a kids food truck. But healthy options as well. There's fruit bowls and all kinds of fun things. Let's see. We've got Wetzel Pretzel coming back, downtown burgers. The food to us is actually really important. We're foodies, and so we're pretty particular. And the first year, admittedly, it was the first year of the festival was a little thin. People didn't really know who we were. They were a little nervous to commit to it. Second year, we got some better options, but everything was kind of consolidated into one area. And so this year we just exploded. We went big. We have, I think, 17 different food and beverage vendors that are just spread out all throughout the festival to really kind of alleviate the line. So I think everybody's going to be really impressed with the food options this year.
That's fantastic. And it's being condensed just 2 days a week too is going to make it more of a buzz, in my opinion. Without it, I can just go tomorrow. It's like, oh, I got 12 days.
Sure.
So
Sure.
You're there for one of those. So
we definitely limit the tickets. We don't really put that out to the community because we don't want like a rush. We want everybody to still kind of be able to come in and buy their tickets. But, this year, I think it's important that everybody really, identify the weekend that they want to come, or 2 or 3 weekends, and really get their tickets in advance to ensure that they actually gain admission. Believe it or not, 35% of our attendance repeat from the community. It's pretty incredible to see everybody continue to come back week after week and really experience multiple weekends with us. We really appreciate that.
Well, with 6 weekends that are so unique, Scarecrow Disco, butterflies, the baby goats, everything is different, and there's something else for everybody. So this isn't just, it's the same thing every weekend for 6 weeks.
Right.
It's a totally different experience.
Sure, it totally is. We love to change it up. We love throwing surprises in there too that are not actually promoted.
Well, with this, where can we find those tickets? If somebody wants to go ahead and pre-order those tickets now to get their weekend, where can they go find those and purchase them?
Well, if you haven't seen an ad pop in front of you just yet, you can go to drippingSpringsPumpkinFestival.com, and the pre-sale link is right at the top, so you don't have to scroll through. But we really encourage everybody to read through the information. It's very informative. It's a very easy read. We definitely suggest you read what's permitted and not permitted at the festival. We get a kick out of that, creating that every year. And get your pre-sales and really kind of study the weekends and learn what the festival is really about. It's not just an opportunity to come out and have a great time. It's actually a great opportunity to come out, really support an incredible property, a Texas State historical landmark, and create traditions for the family. There's just photo ops all throughout the property. And this year, even more than last year, they're literally just, I don't even know how many photo ops. We just keep putting them up.
Any tips and tricks for the festival goer they should know about coming in?
Well, yes. Get there early, right? People always talk about parking. If you get there early, there's great parking. Last year, we will say, and that's kind of one of the things we dealt with the city, is that all of our programming was at 1:00. And so there was just kind of this mad rush of everybody coming in. And I think the neighbors were just like, wow, what's going on? It was like a little Woodstock, right? And so we really worked closely with the city and listened to the neighbors and what they had to say. And so this year we broke it up. We actually have programming, the same exact programming at 1:00 and 4:00 every Saturday and Sunday throughout the festival. So we're hoping that we can split the crowd a little bit. Some people will come early, some people will come late, and we don't have everybody trying to really come at one time. So I think that's going to really help with parking. We have the huge neighborhood across the street that all the street work has been laid, but they haven't started building. So they should be permitting those streets here any day now. And there's basically going to be an additional, I don't know, 500 to 1,000 parking spots there because there are no houses there right now. And that's another reason why the city kind of felt comfortable letting us do it there one more year, because not everyone's going to be flooding into the back neighborhoods where the homes currently are being occupied, but there are a lot of streets that have just been completed where there's a lot of parking, yet there's no homes yet. So we don't foresee parking being as much of an issue as it was last year, but that being said, we really are encouraging anybody who's coming from out of Dripping Springs to just ride share. Grab a ride, come out, enjoy yourself, have a good time, and grab a ride back to Austin. I think you'll have an even better time. That way you don't have to deal with parking at all. You can be dropped off right at the front door.
True. So with that, does that mean that Lone Peak cut through is going to be open to 12, or
it's done, and
done,
TxDOT has already done their part as well. I think the developers are just waiting for the city to sign off on the streets now, and then that's all going to be open.
Between that, cutting through and opening up some traffic for the neighborhood, and then the other one that goes through Heritage on Roger Hanks that cuts all the way through from the high school back. I mean, those two streets alone in central Dripping Springs have been a game changer for flow. I mean, it's going to be just getting both of those open. Just
one of the other things we're doing, this is important to note, is that there was a lot of people walking across the streets both ways and cars trying to get through. We just didn't think the festival was going to blow up the way that it did last year. We were super grateful. But in this year, we decided to put a constable right at that corner. So everything's going to be a little bit more controlled. The cars are not going to get backed up. They're going to hold the crowds, let the cars go through, and then stop, let everybody cross. So everything will be much more manageable. I don't think we're going to quite have the congestion that we did at that intersection. We also have 2 people in the parking lot helping people wave them into parking spots, turning them out when there aren't any, and also a constable down there sitting at Lone Peak Way. We have barricades coming in that are going to be in the intersections as well, so people can't really park on the curbs of the intersections, which is going to also help traffic flow really smoothly through those areas.
What about events at Founders Park? I know that was part of the problem last year, is that there was flag football and other stuff going on, so they're bringing their own parking. Are they going to have stuff going on there, or have you guys?
We're very grateful to DSYSA. We work closely with them. We had several conversations. They love the park as well. It's a great place for the community to come out and have their games. We basically just sat down with them and said, please, just let us have one more year. Is there any way that y'all can move your games this year and allow us to have the parking? It was really kind of the only way that the city was going to sign off on it. And Michelle and DSYSA, obviously had conversations. I think they were a little reluctant at first, not because they didn't want to support us, but they love Founders Park as well. But at the end of the day, we're very grateful to them. They made the decision to move their games so that we could have the exclusive parking lot for all 12 days of the festival. And I think that alone on Saturdays is really going to alleviate a lot of parking issues. Sundays were always kind of light, but Saturdays were like a really kind of hectic day for parking. And I think that's not going to be the case this year. So thank you, DSYSA. We certainly encourage everybody to support them as well.
With you guys being there, of course, but even on a regular Saturday when the festival's not there, that area is pretty congested with flag football and other stuff going on too. So we've seen it with tournaments. It's a busy area. Everyone wants to be there. And
we basically bought out Founders Park for these 12 days. So there's not even going to be any private events there. We literally are paying for the parking lot to make sure that we have the exclusivity on it. They haven't quite broken ground on the skate park yet, so we're not having to worry about that. So again, a lot of things, the ride sharing, the constables out front, parking management, the neighborhood across the streets that are new ready. Like there's a lot going in our favor. And of course, DSYSA moving their games. I think that parking is going to be a much easier situation this year.
Yeah, it's pretty great that they did that. I think that'll help everything. It's going to be a fantastic event. We're super excited to come out this weekend and check it out. And just wish you guys all the best on it, and just, keep pouring into the Pound House and have this last little hurrah here at Founders Park before you guys.
Well, we really appreciate it. And like you said, this is not our last year. It's just the last and final year at the Pound House. We are securing a property and we will be moving it. We won't be too far from the city limits, but we are pushing outside away from all the neighborhoods, and we will have plenty of parking, and we look forward to announcing the property and having everybody come out next year for the 4th annual Dripping Springs Pumpkin Festival.
So am I reading between the lines there and hearing that you're going to announce that on the Sold on Jet podcast?
We are, we've been talking about with the media, everybody's wondering where it is. Basically, all we can say is it's just outside of the city limits. But we are close, folks. We love the community of Dripping Springs. We just want to do what's right for the community, our immediate neighbors. And we need a little bit of a bigger area. The festival's really grown. We're going to keep it small town community feel, but we need to stretch our legs out a little bit and have a little bit more parking and be able to build some more kind of permanent games and structures for the events. And I think it's going to be a better experience for everyone involved.
Okay, well, I had to give it a shot to see if we could break the news here, but whoever it is, we're sure it's going to be great. And I'm excited to see you guys this weekend. And anything we missed, anything else you want to touch on about this amazing festival?
Just special thanks to the city of Dripping Springs. We really appreciate their support.
Well, we know it's going to be great. We'll see you this weekend. And I appreciate you taking your time. I know how busy you've been these past couple of weeks to come out and promote this. And we hope to see some great crowds and bring in some funds in the Pound House and really blow this one out for the last event at Founders Park.
Thanks, Bill. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support.
You're welcome. Thanks, Chris. And we'll see everybody out there this weekend and the 5 following weekends. So if you have a chance to come out, make sure you go to drippingspringspumpkinfestival.com, pre-order those tickets, and get there early. Go tailgate in the parking lot if you have to. So thanks again, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sold on Drip podcast. Thank you for listening to the Sold on Drip podcast. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes. If you would like to connect, learn more about Dripping Springs, or have any questions regarding Central Texas real estate, you can find me at soldondrip.com or on Instagram at Bill Cafferetta. I hope to see you around town.